Liverpool Parish Church had the reputation for being a civic church. Many major towns and cities in the UK have a church which is seen as civic and whose ministry is often a little bit different from other parish churches. From the earliest times, this has been a significant part of our ministry, whether it is special events for the arrival of the Earl of Derby in Liverpool in 1577, special civic services to mark the end of the First World War, or the events of today, which might be commemorative with the city. Last month we welcomed ambassadors, senior military from many nations and government ministers, or celebratory with businesses, charities and the local authorities of Liverpool. We've got another event of that kind in church tomorrow morning. We are very good here at creating liturgies for the public sphere, but people looking in might think that this is what civic ministry is. It is perhaps the bit of the iceberg which you can see, but meaningless if there is not substance underneath. Biblical interaction with civic authorities is not in the slightest bit comparable with the 21st century, except that we can see from the Gospels that Jesus did not pit himself against the rulers of Palestine. Lines such as, "Give therefore to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's," are an indication that Jesus was not picking a fight. He had plenty to say about those in authority, but he was not inherently critical of their role in the ordering of society. Even when he stood before Pilate, he drew a distinction between the authority which was his and the authority of the Roman occupiers. Biblical accounts of the early church develop the theme a bit more. There are the accounts of the conversion of some of the Roman occupiers, especially the centurion Cornelius in Acts chapter 10, who is baptized by Peter. But I'm also struck by Paul's interaction with authority. St. Paul was a Roman citizen and behaved like one. He was not a maverick preacher, but educated and very much an establishment figure. He does not set himself against civic institutions, but rather he uses them, invoking his rights as a citizen and perpetually showing leadership, whether it is in his interaction with prison guards or a ship's captain. Having said that, there are some uncomfortable bits of scripture. In the letter to the Romans, St. Paul writes, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those authorities that exist have been instituted by God." I'm challenged by that verse when I look at the authorities which govern us, authorities which do not seem to welcome the stranger or feed the hungry. So our civic ministry must be more than the bit of the iceberg which we can all see. In the last couple of weeks, we've hosted visible events for the city, including the launch of a new multi-agency campaign on homelessness and street begging, and also a workshop for the city region to begin planning COVID legacy and memorialisation. And under these events are hours spent in committee meetings and drawing together partnerships and the leading voices of the city. Civic ministry is where we are known to make a difference by our participation with others. Whilst our civic ministry is undoubtedly more high profile than that of many faith communities, all churches are able to exercise a civic ministry because we are all able to engage with institutions and organisations. By extension, all Christians are able to have a civic ministry. We cannot make the gospel present amongst us if our faith is introverted. Let's make a noise about our presence. Let's make a noise about our faith.